All right. Hello, everyone. David Morassutti here. You might remember some of us. We used to do the Tip of the Tower podcast. We are now doing something new, and it took us a little time to figure out the name. And within a second, Austin came up with an interesting one that we're going to give it a shot, see how it works. So, welcome to a new show we're calling the Plan the Parade podcast. It's going to be about
I'm the best.
yeah, certainly the best. Um, we're going to be talking mostly Leafs. We'll also delve into a couple of other subjects, but this will be mostly Leafs talk. So I want to welcome my co-hosts here. Let's start with the guy in the Nike hat and the Nike shirt.
Which one?
Yeah, we're big fans of the swoosh.
So, yeah, it was making me freeze, so I'm off camera for now until I figure out a solution.
So Austin,
Ooh.
Austin
Yeah, boo, I'm the worst.
much. But Jake, so this is Jake Middleton. He lives all the way down in New Jersey. Jake, where exactly in New Jersey are you from again?
Bergen County,
Bergen County, which is how far from New York, so people get an idea.
35-minute drive.
Okay, so
Probably
it's
20 miles. 20 miles.
and Jake used to live in Toronto, Mississauga, actually, and then he moved down to the States. He played some hockey in college. Was it what level of college?
We were Division One. I was a walk-on. Practiced with them. Was able to live that lifestyle for a couple months, and then realized I wasn't good enough. So I decided to play club hockey, which is a lot more fun. Actually got to play, so that's definitely more fun than just sitting around working out for 8 hours a day.
And the other co-host who does not have video right
Here,
now.
I'll turn it on just for you. Then I'll go back.
I don't honestly. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a perfect system. We're working out the kinks in the first show here. But Austin Owens, he lives all the way out in Pickering, Ontario.
It's the metropolis of Pickering, Ontario.
Austin and I went to school at Centennial College together, and he jumped on the podcast, and maybe the solution will have to be, even
I'm
though
freezing again. I'm going back.
I will. Wow, just that did not last long. Will be to have Austin in the studio, I guess. And myself, I'm from Etobicoke, Ontario. Good old home of Mr. Davy Clarkman. For anybody who does not know, that's in Toronto as well. So what we're planning to do is we're planning to just discuss Leafs. It's gonna be probably on a weekly basis, depending on how our schedules lined up. It's kind of tough when we're all in different areas. We're not all together to do these, but we're hoping to do these more regularly now. So as we are doing this, the Leafs just lost to the Dallas Stars, 3-2. It was a game that it was exactly the type of game I expected in terms of the Dallas Stars not really wanting to take a lot of chances, just kind of pounce on opportunities when they happen. And unfortunately, the Leafs gave them opportunities to pounce on. More specifically, the first shot in every period went into the back of the net. I don't remember the last time I've seen the Leafs do that. We've done the first shot of the game. We've certainly seen that a lot. We haven't seen the first shot of every period against the Leafs. Jake, I'm gonna ask you first because you had the thought of that this game was not terrible but not great for the Leafs.
I didn't think they played badly. I mean, you just know how Dallas is going to play. They play the trap, and they think they're the 95 Devils. They're not, and they're going to lose in the first round again because they can't score. I mean, I didn't think any goal was good. I mean, yeah, people can say it's a breakaway. Like, dude, these are literal bums who are just sliding at 5-hole. Like, I could score those goals. Wasn't every goal today 5-hole?
The only one that wasn't was the third goal on the
The
power,
Sagan one.
the off a rebound. But the second two goals, the first one was a semi breakaway, but the second one was a breakaway. They both went 5-hole on Anderson there. So here comes my next question, Austin. For the last three games, Jack Campbell has been stellar in net. And then we weren't sure when Anderson was coming back. He had been practicing. He had been taking shots. Then it was announced today that he was coming back. And people were wondering, did that actually make sense to put Anderson in a game like this, rather than save him potentially to come back against, let's say, like an Ottawa or a Buffalo this weekend?
I mean, I thought it was dumb would be a good word to describe it. I thought this was, no disrespect to Dallas, but this wasn't really, it's not a divisional game. It's not a conference game. And Jack Campbell, I mean, Dave, you and I saw it firsthand a couple days ago. Jack Campbell's no slouch. This guy's for real. So he's won the Leafs 2 or 3 games. I think he's gotten them, 7 of 8 points, 6 of 8 points over that stretch.
He got them 5 of 6 points in the 3 games he played.
5 of 6, that's what it was.
Should have been all 6.
Yeah. So I honestly think that you could have just rode the hot hand for a little bit, given Freddie a couple more days off, but that's what it is. And I mean, call it what it is. The boys didn't show up for Freddie at all in that first 30 minutes of the game.
I think, well, definitely the first period, because they only got 3 shots on goal.
They had 3 shots up until that penalty they took in the second, which put them down. And I think that was after the 2-0 goal for sure.
Yeah, so 2-0 down. Kyle Clifford drops the gloves with Jamie Alexiak. Pretty big tilt. 2 pretty big guys going at it. And even the Leafs admitted that provided a spark for the team. And everyone was saying that this is something the Leafs needed more of because they were lacking that toughness. But, yeah, it just seemed like all night, we know how Dallas is going to play. They're playing that trap style, as Jake said. They remind me of the New York Islanders of the West, but they actually have a little more talent.
But they don't use it, so it doesn't matter.
It was very fair, though. I mean, Tyler...
they're paying Jamie... the thing I don't understand about that is they're paying these guys, $20 million combined, and they might have they probably have less goals than Zach Hyman, both of them. Just guessing.
That's a good question. I know that Tyler Seguin broke a goalless drought tonight against the Leafs.
Yeah, which holy shit, Sportsnet was doing they should get an assist for that goal. They were saying it every 5 minutes. I'm just waiting for the Leafs to be up 3-0 or 4-0, and one of the announcers just be like, "Shut out," just to try and break it, just to jinx it. I don't know. They do a terrible job. I mean, I understand that they put a bunch of effort into the national TV deal and stuff like that, but why don't you get a homer for the team? They're the only team that doesn't have one, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, every other team for
Canada in the history of sports has a homer that calls games.
I mean, they had Joe Bowen, but that hasn't been a thing.
Yeah. I mean, he does radio. I mean, I don't know.
Joe Bowen's not on the broadcast for a reason, and it's because he's re-signed to do radio for Leafs Nation.
Yeah.
So I get it.
So as both I work for Sportsnet, but I don't work for the TV or production side. That's not my side.
Yeah, Dave, get us some good announcers here.
Yeah, what the hell, man? No. I mean, the thing is, they're the production value is so good. Everything they do is so good. They have great analysts, great sideline reporters.
Wow, you're the one who thinks that.
But how are they picking the play-by-play guys that fans do not like? That's what I don't get. If you're gonna have national TV guys that do a good job, I mean, Hockey Night in Canada, some people like them. My dad loves them. But my guys are Ray Ferraro and Gordon Miller. I think they do an amazing job. They are super, super unbiased. They are always even Steven. And that's what you should do if you're a national broadcast. But if you're a regional broadcast, especially for these local games, you have to have someone that the fans recognize with and they appreciate. Everybody jokes about Jack Edwards, but it's kind of funny. Even Bruins fans don't really like him. But they just, I don't know, they like the other people that are on Nesson because they cater to their fan base, and that's just the way it should be.
So, yeah, that's the thing, too. This is technically a regional game for the Leafs. When they have those Wednesday night games, that's a national game, so I can understand when they don't have someone that's catering just to the Leafs. But I do think that the Oilers have. I don't know the guy who does the regional games, but the Oilers have their guy, the Flames have their guy, the Canucks do have their guy. So I think it's fair to say that I think Leafs fans, when with Paul Romanok, they let their intentions know how they felt about him, and the response, like it's tough. I guess maybe just trying to find the right person. Maybe John Bartlett's been around for so long that
But
maybe
he came from the Habs.
yeah. So part of me wonders is if he's thinking that when he comes to Sportsnet, he has to think more nationally. But I don't know if maybe that's just not they don't realize that this is a guy that's supposed to do the regional games for the Leafs, but because he does other teams, because on Sportsnet he does the other games on Saturday night. Maybe that's just the way he is he doesn't feel like he wants to be the Leafs play-by-play guy, but more the Sportsnet play-by-play guy. It's a tough one to gauge, but yeah, just to give you some other context, Tyler Seguin last scored a goal, if Hockey Reference serves me right, which I look on my phone here. December 28th was the last time Tyler Seguin scored a goal.
That's awful.
Yikes.
It's absolutely terrible for a guy that is making
$9 million.
So his cap hit is 9.85, but his salary this year is 13 million, 13.5 million.
Christ. 9 million, 9.8.
Yeah, I thought it was like 8.8.
No, he got a good pay raise.
So you mean to tell me Zack Kassian has more goals this week than Tyler Seguin's had in the past 3 months?
Yep. Zack Kassian has more goals. Okay, Zack Kassian's played how many games?
30 something.
30 something.
Yeah.
Tyler Seguin has 11 goals. Well, I guess now 12 goals if we add this one.
That's really bad.
He has 12 goals this season. Zack Kassian scored tonight. So
Kapanen has to have more than that.
Let's see. Zack Kassian has, well, if we count tonight's goal,
he's got 16?
17 goals in 39 games. Okay.
Well, I mean, he's basically Ovechkin, so that doesn't even count.
Yeah, he's the new Ovechkin on the Leafs. So just to give you an example, Kasperi Kapanen has 11 goals in 56 games.
Yeah, I figured they were around the same number.
Kasperi Kapanen doesn't get power play time. He doesn't get top line minutes. He
went 13 games until he hit the winner the other night.
Yeah, Justin, how jacked was the crowd when that happened?
I was fired up.
You were fired up. That was your first. So just to give you some.
David, do something for me real quick.
Yeah.
Confirm to Jake that I am not crazy at hockey games.
He's not. He's definitely
nobody is. Everybody's like, you have to be a real a-hole to be like overly ridiculous.
I know why Austin brought this up, because the people in our section, there were some real dandies in our section.
No, I brought it up because Jake always thinks I'm losing my mind when we're in our group chat during games.
I mean,
no, he's definitely someone who likes like that meme of screaming internally, like their face is just stoic, but internally they're screaming.
I'll send you the meme of that. I have a SpongeBob one that you'll love. Hold on. Well, you keep talking. I'll find it.
No, that's hilarious though. But yeah, no, that like the crowd was pumped in that moment. But it's just so funny because when we were at that game on Tuesday, and I guarantee it was like that tonight too, there are just times in the game where there's no energy.
Oh, it's a morgue at points in the game.
It is a morgue in that building as Jake tries to find something better to watch on TV than our places. Love you, buddy. But yeah, there was times where it felt like a morgue in the and I've been to my fair share of games in that arena over the years. Like, I remember the games I went to as a kid. Those games had some sort of energy to it, and it's just changed so much over the years. Now I'm talking like this is back in the early 2000s. I was at the Pat Quinn games, the days with Curtis Joseph in town. Like that was different. It certainly changed. It's really hard to pinpoint the exact moment it kind of started changing, but I would say like late 2000s, like after the lockout, and like just the way that management, the Leafs were just able to capitalize on, just being the hot ticket in town for the longest time. So
I mean, the thing is though, like I don't care what you say. There's like no building unless it's like prime Warriors.
Yeah.
No building is 100% 41 nights a year going to be just lit.
No.
Like sometimes, like they say it, like the funny saying in England is like can't do it on a rainy Tuesday or rainy Thursday in Stoke. That's just what it is. I mean, like it's a sleepy Thursday against Dallas. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not like Dallas is a team that is even attempting to bring any excitement to the game.
No, that's not their brand.
They're trying to score the first goal and win 1-0.
I will say though that Saturday nights still remain
Yes.
the top ticket. Like I haven't been to a Saturday night game in a while. You have to get very lucky. Like those there's a reason why Saturday night tickets are constantly higher.
I mean,
Like,
as they should. They're like the place to be.
yeah, that's like, the last Saturday night game I went to was in Montreal 2 years ago. That place was bumping. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know I went to a Leaf playoff game 2 years ago, back when Thomas Plekanec was a Toronto Maple Leaf. Remember those years.
Yep.
So like that's where you want the fan base. Like that's where the fans are like, okay, like we got to get loud. Like they do get loud. So I think meaningless game, or not meaningless, but a game where just not a lot of excitement is built up to it. I think we can, rest easy a little bit on it. So a couple of post-game things about what happened tonight. So Andreas Janssen, according to Chris Johnson, talking with Sheldon Keefe after the game, apparently the knee injury he suffered is not supposed to be something that'll keep him out over the short term. And unfortunately, which means what, people? It means he's going to be out for a while. This is a guy who already missed over a month with a leg injury earlier in the year. So he's going to be out for, I would say, a considerable amount of time. Which, does that alter your trade deadline
No.
positioning a little bit?
No, I mean, I'd have to get like a ridiculously good deal for me to even consider trading for more forwards. I think their work is pretty much done in terms of forwards.
Well, so it's funny because Tim and Sid, they were talking with Greg Millen before the game. He wants them to try. They said, that like Zach Hyman's so good. If you can get a player that's like even half of that, that would be a big addition. Which, I mean, Tyler Clifford, he's not a Zach Hyman, but he brings something you need. It's just like, what are you gonna like? There's only so many things you can do.
Tyler Clifford? You mean Kyle Clifford?
Kyle Clifford. Sorry, thank you.
I thought you were going to say
Tyler
Toffoli. Yeah, I thought you were saying Toffoli.
I
would love Toffoli.
Well, I mean, I think the cost is going to be way too high considering will be quite a few teams looking to add a guy like Tyler Toffoli. I think
he just reminds me of a Boston Bruin.
Yeah, this is a prime Boston Bruin pickup if there would be one. I don't know if they have the cap space for it. It seems like Boston doesn't. Cap space doesn't matter. They always get a guy somehow. When they added all those guys at the deadline last year. Yeah, I mean the thing with the trade deadline, and this is gonna be something we'll talk a lot more about next week too. It's really quieted down with the Leafs, and I think part of the reason is the one target everyone had on their mind in Matthew Dumba. The Minnesota Wild picked up the slack a little bit, and they're winning some games right now. So like, how are you trading Matt Dumba right now? I mean, I don't know.
I think they're not trying to go for the playoffs. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, especially after they traded probably their best forward and a pretty good deal. They got, Kalen Addison, who's probably Pittsburgh's top 2 prospect.
Yeah.
First round pick. That's pretty good.
And Galchenyuk, if he can play half decent, they could try to sell him again for another asset. But I don't know what other team other than like a Buffalo would want Galchenyuk, because they'll take anyone at this point. I don't see right now how the Leafs can add a defenseman, because we know, and people are saying, they'll keep CCL, so it's not the cap space now, guys. It's who is out there. You're not getting a Jeff Petrie because
you're not paying to get Chris Kreider. They don't have a first.
They don't have a first. That's the thing that bothers me right now. I've heard this the last little bit, and like you start hearing things up, and you're starting to put together like trading that first round pick to get rid of Patrick Marleau really put this team in a bad position because that's an asset you could have rather used to get a defenseman. Instead, you traded it away to rid yourself of a contract that, I mean, look, people want to harp on Kyle Dubas for trading the first round pick. He didn't sign that contract, and his mandate was to try to keep the core together and didn't want to sacrifice a Kapanen or a Janssen to do it. Although I probably would have been a fan of just getting some good assets for them because you need to replenish a little bit and hopefully have depth that can step up. But not having that first round pick is going to make it even tougher to trade.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it all depends on free agency, but my whole scheme the entire time has been, I mean, if they don't, I mean, they're never bringing back Cody Ceci. They're not bringing back Barry. But if they re-sign a guy like Jake Muzzin, I would seriously, yeah, it looks like they're going to do that. I would seriously try and do whatever it costs to try and get Alex Pietrangelo to come back. And then after you do that, you can trade a guy like a Dermott or a Kapanen or a Janssen, and you can replenish picks because they have to do that. People keep saying that. I got into an argument about someone saying like, oh, well, then you're not going to find like a Kapanen in the first round. Well, like, okay, you're probably not going to be able to take them. Someone's going to get taken in the expansion draft. Like, I'd prefer if you traded that, get like a first and a third or something like that, or a goalie to replace Freddie instead. But, I mean, who knows?
This is where teams screwed the pooch with Vegas. Instead of trading those guys that Vegas would have targeted, trade them to another team, get an asset, and maybe add a guy that you can expose that you're not afraid to lose. Like I look at that's what Vegas did well is they got teams to either trade them players that they knew they were going to take and get an asset along with that so that they wouldn't take another player. So if I'm the Leafs, like you get, you saw what happened when you draft a guy like Nick Robinson in the second round. You can get value in the later rounds if you project the right players and the skills that they have. I mean, Nick Robinson isn't going to solve all their needs, but like if you're saying, oh, you trade a cap and you're not going to find another guy, you can find the other guys. Other teams have been able to find the guys, like the contending teams. I look at look, Mikheyev was an undrafted signing. I think he's a pretty decent player. He can easily replace the Janssen. You look at Kubalik with the Blackhawks. That guy's come out of nowhere and he's been a stud for them. Like you can find those guys.
Did they get him for like a fifth rounder or something?
Yeah, like
who traded him again? Was it Pittsburgh?
I think so. I think
yeah, that sounds maybe in the Mata trade.
Yeah, I think that's starting to ring a bell. I don't know the exact trade, but that seems right.
Let's look.
In a cap world, you try to you want to keep your core elite players. Everyone around them should be interchangeable, in a sense. Like the Blackhawks, what kind of was their demise is they didn't want they traded Panarin because they wanted to bring Saad back, which proved to be a terrible decision on their part. But the Leafs, like you're not, and people keep saying, oh, okay, so let's get into this conversation because we talked about the Kapanen stuff. And I listened to this on Hockey Central, how Kapanen is an elite guy with an elite set of skills. So he has the speed, he has a decent shot.
The Kings, that's awful.
And then
Kubalik was acquired from LA for a pick, just as signing rights.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Austin, I'm going to ask this question because you know what I'm coming into now. So they say Kapanen's got the elite shot, the elite speed. So why don't the Leafs keep a guy like Kapanen and trade one of their top 4 core guys?
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, if there's a forward to be gone, I think we all know it's not going to be William Nylander at this point. Thank God.
The thing that's stupid about that is like, sure, like I would trade him. Like if I can get Seth Jones, sure.
Absolutely.
If it's a top guy.
If I can get McDavid for Matthews, I'll trade him. I'll trade anybody. But like, I think it's just like people are obviously trolling at this point because there's no way they like
trolling.
If they're not trolling, then they're idiotic. I mean,
you're giving people way too much credit.
If you think you're just going to trade guys just to trade guys to get defensemen, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have to give up something to get something, and it's funny because the Anthony Stewart said, "Oh, you can one of the 4 top guys can be expendable." I'm not going to say which one, and we're like,
we all know. Nylander. We all know.
Just say it. It's been said so many times.
You're gonna trade Mitch Marner for Brett Pesce?
Like I wouldn't even trade Nylander for Brett Pesce right now because
I'm just saying, like, if you're trading one of the top 4 guys that is expendable, and that's the guy that's been linked to the Leafs, which one of the top 4 is getting traded for a guy that's not even a top pair defenseman?
Yeah,
it's Nylander. Just say it.
It's just so funny because remember when he was, we're doing the whole holdout situation. Oh, the Leafs should, really look at the Carolina offers. If they're offering Brett Pesce, they should do it. They should do it. And we're just like, nah, maybe Kyle Dubas should be a little patient. And then Kyle Dubas goes on this, he gets on a lot of people's hit list because he didn't have a stern hand in keeping Nylander out. Guess what? Nylander has been, I think, the Leafs.
Probably the best contract value-wise, points per.
He's the best contract on the team, other than Morgan Riley when Morgan Riley's on.
Yeah. Like, is John Tavares playing as an $11 million player? Most of the time he is, yes.
He's a point-per-game player this season. He's worth.
Austin Matthews is tied for the league lead in goals. That's why he's getting paid what he's getting paid. Mitch Marner, probably the one that we wish he took a little bit less, but at least he is contributing the points. Like, the points are there.
He scores points. You just don't pay a guy near $11 million to pass the puck. But
yeah, the fact that he can't shoot is like a serious problem.
He shoots muffins. It's unfortunate.
That's like something he'll have to. So that's something that'll have to change if he wants to not have the criticism that he gets sometimes. That's the way it goes. You got to develop. You got to keep getting better. As Jake sends me messages, it's because
I posted the SpongeBob meme of me during Leaf games in our chat.
That's just how these shows are gonna go, people. It's not gonna be a formal. We're gonna be very lax with this. So if it's not your thing, I'm sorry, but we're trying to keep this as relatively casual.
I'm going to enjoy talking about the Leafs, or I'm not going to do a podcast. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, like if anyone knows, I'm a huge Spin Chicklets fan. I have been for a long time. The way they just take shots at each other and just they're anything goes with them. They're just really good talkers. That's something we're not going to beat Spin Chicklets. That we can't. There's just no way. No. But we're going to have that same. We're going to take shots at each other. Jake's going to take shots at me. It's only a matter of time. He'll find something.
Just sitting in silence, letting something brew right now.
We've got 2 games coming up against Ottawa and Buffalo. We haven't decided when we're going to do the next show, but those are the next 2 games on the schedule.
God, really?
I can't see how the Leafs lose those games. I know people probably don't have a lot of faith, like Austin. I mean, look, Ottawa has not been good. That game they played on Saturday, like the Leafs should have dummied them. But because of Craig Anderson playing out of his mind like he always does against the Leafs, that's just the way it goes. Buffalo has been god-awful. I mean, we all know the Buffalo Sabres rant that just went on, so I think...
I've been looking for that for a couple days, because I have to listen to it. They what?
I'm pretty sure they took it down.
No!
So I was told... so that guy was on the... Actually, I'll send you a clip. I can get you a clip of it. So it was on the guy who went on that rant, Dwayne, went on Steve Dangle's podcast, the Steve Dangle podcast, and he went into further detail about it. And I'm pretty sure he said that the radio station was asked to take it down. I think so. And I'm
hopefully not by the Sabres.
That's the only people who would ask to take it down. People have to realize you know, when something like that becomes viral like that, teams are going to most likely ask. I mean, it looks worse to take it down and to be the ones to ask to take it down, but it wouldn't surprise me that.
You know what would people would stop criticizing you over national radio and all that?
Win some
Is
damn
if you
games.
stopped compiling top 10 talent and pissing it away by being the worst franchise in the East.
Jack Eichel and Rasmus Dahlin is all they really got.
And they're fantastic players, but they don't build around them. Like have fun with Jeff Skinner at $9 million for the next 7 years.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean,
terrible.
What is he? Talk about a guy who can't fucking score.
He might have less goals than Hyman. No, he for sure does.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, wait a minute. Why am I the one on video trying to look this stuff up? You're the one that's off camera. I'm making you the producer now.
Yep, I got you.
So as Austin looks up the Jeff Skinner stats.
Jeff Skinner, 11 goals.
That is horrific.
So Kasperi Kapanen. Hey, Buffalo, you want Kasperi Kapanen? We can maybe try to hose them for something as well. All right. Final topic we're going to talk about. We've all seen the clip. If you haven't seen the clip, you should all look at it. Because Zack Kassian did probably the most unspeakable thing I have seen anybody do this season.
Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You thought Tyler Seguin was bad. Jeffrey Skinner being paid $9 million a year. Would you like to take a guess at how many games he's gone without a goal?
Oh, it's been like 20.
I'm going to say 30.
That is 20 on the dot.
Wow.
I don't have a prize for you, Jacob, but congratulations, you've won.
Well, I want one.
All right, we'll figure it
out. Before we get into our final talk about Zack Kassian, Jake, did you ever frame the Lowry jersey I got?
Yeah, it's at the store getting framed.
So just to give you some context here, people, Jake had made a request for me a month ago. No, 2 months ago in December.
Yeah, a while ago.
Jake had a rare request. I need a Kyle Lowry autographed jersey. I said, you know what? That shouldn't be hard to find. We looked for weeks, people, to find a Kyle Lowry autographed jersey, like done properly. So Jake finally finds one. I go downtown. I find this person. I send it over. I'm just like, how the heck am I going to get this to Jake? And Jake's like, oh, our friend Chris, who we're going to try to get on the show with us, he's coming down to New York, so just send it with him. I'm not going to tell you how much Jake paid for this jersey.
Wasn't cheap.
It was not cheap.
Worth it, though.
Apparently, it was from your gambling. You're like the
fantasy football. You guys basically paid for it. Thank you.
Oh, God, fantasy football? That's where the money came from?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't pay for it. You know why.
Oh, Dio mio.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
Jake's just like, hey, bub. Yeah, so Jake's like the RA of our group. He's the guy who gambles and
degenerate gambler of our group.
Yeah. Well, him and Chris. I'm
just terrible at it. That's why I wouldn't do it.
Hey, Jake,
fair enough.
I won a 17 parlay.
There you go. Yeah, you did. Those are fun.
It's stressful as hell too.
Yes, they are.
We will not be having a gambling corner on this show.
No, because any team I take, they could be 23-point favorites. They will somehow find a way to win or lose by one possession. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to talk Zack Kassian. And so what happened here was Eric Chernak, I believe that's the first name. I should have called on the first name. He was pinning down both Zack Kassian and Archibald on the ice. And I guess he wasn't getting up at the pace that Zack Kassian wanted him to get up at. So Zack Kassian, being the intelligent hockey player that he is, decided to...
The man of honor that he is after he took the moral high ground with Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, the guy who made sure to make an example of Matthew Tkachuk.
I would never do that.
Yeah. Gutless player that Matthew Tkachuk is. Zack Kassian decided the best way to get Chernak off of him was to take his skate, his foot, and push off of his chest. Now, I don't know
He
if
just kicked him in the chest.
Did he kick? I thought he pushed off of him.
He basically just...
Either way, he took his foot. He decided the best thing to do is to take a really, really sharp skate blade and push off of a guy's chest to get up. Now, Leafs fans have seen what can happen when a skate blade makes contact with the skin. It can cut you, and it can cut you pretty deep because the skates are not. The NHL players have really sharp skates. So this blew up on social media, like in the way it should. People have had some really, fair takes about, it's suspendable and how long you should be suspended. Some people are just like, they're just going to do the Zdeno Chara maximum fine allowed.
That's a joke in itself.
Yeah, I'm not getting into that. I think we've said our piece about that, and it's the CBA. It's what the players are able. That's what the players negotiated. Have you guys? First off, suspension suspension for sure, right?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
over under 5 games.
I think 5's right. It should be more, but I'm just leaning very conservative, just based on how stupid the people that work in player safety are.
So the two examples I've seen, Chris Simon when he stepped on Route 2.
And Chris Pronger.
Yeah. Chris Simon got 30 plus games, but that was just like he meant to do it. Like it was, and he probably that was a lot worse. Jeff Skinner, who we talked about, also did something similar where he kicked at a guy and he got 2 games. But Jeff Skinner doesn't have history, so this would be the second suspension for Kassian this season. I'm probably going to say it should be closer to 8 to 10 games. Like that, especially this part of the season where they already are without McDavid, that sends a message. I'm not saying the Oilers deserve a message because they're not for...
It sends a message. That guy that wasn't going to score anyway without McDavid is going to sit in the press box.
Yeah, but you take away another guy on the team, and when you suspend a guy, you can't the salary. The salary stays, so it just makes it tougher for Edmonton. But like Zack Kassian, I don't know if he's commented after the game, Mr. Producer Austin, if you want to see if maybe there's a comment. If Edmonton's smart, he's not talking after that. But I would I'd venture on the side that he didn't talk, even though he did talk.
I would say no. It was Tippett, Riley Sheahan, Alex Chason. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so like I would really like to know what his explanation would be for that. Because I don't think you can.
No, I mean it's so beyond Bush League. It's not even like there's nothing you can say past that.
Yeah. Also, referee. What is the referee doing in that situation?
Good call.
Like, you see the guys are on the ice. One of them's going to do something, and nothing happens.
I'm assuming what the referee was doing there, and it's usually one of those cases where the two guys are just in a wrestling match trying to keep each other pinned down. Like what happened with, was it the Leafs and Habs game, Gallagher and, was it Muzzin?
I think so, yeah.
The other night, like they're just trying to keep each other so their guys have an extra man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know what the ref's thinking. No idea what Kassian's thinking.
He's not. He never thinks. So.
No. Sorry, I'm giving him credit of actually not just seeing red and kicking a guy in the chest with a sharp blade. But there has to be a precedent set here that kind of shit doesn't fly.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the precedent will have to come from NHL player safety. If that indeed does happen, we'll probably find that out tomorrow. Or sometimes you get those late at night after the game. We'll see. But I can't see Zack Kassian not getting anything here, as we said. So we will leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched the whole episode, thank you very much. We will hope to do more of these. We'll have these all up on YouTube, and you can follow us on social media. I'll have that in the YouTube description. Just look down, give us some comments, give us some feedback. It's the only way we get better. But just don't say anything stupid, because we will call you out on it to a certain degree.
I'm not going to call you out on it. If you say something bad about me, I probably deserved it.
There's certain lines you don't cross when you say that these people on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait. No, we're not ending the podcast yet. I just remember something. Jake, you've probably seen this phenomenon too on the internet. I'm in a chair right now. My chair, in an office chair, and yours probably does too, has the option to recline.
Mine really doesn't recline.
So I have a latch here. I can
Mine
push it in,
to make
and
your point valid.
it doesn't recline. It keeps it straight. Or I pull the latch out and it reclines far down. And I feel really bad for Biz because he had some really stupid comments thrown his way. But there's that video of the person punching the back of someone's chair because they reclined on an airplane, and they're pushing for a good 15 to 20 seconds. And the person's not moving and not responding. That's probably that person deserves a lot of credit, because I would have just been like, "Hey, idiot, stop punching my seat." So, are you guys pro recliner on airplane, or or as people in the internet say, that is a lack of human decency?
I mean, I rarely do it. I mean, I kind of sit up anyway, because I'm usually on like a laptop or something watching a TV show. But if I'm falling asleep, I have no problem with it. If somebody wants to do that, that's on them. I would prefer they don't, but I'm not going to punch the back of their seats. And as you know, it's pretty hard for me to be comfortable in an airplane seat as it is. So,
yeah, Jake, how tall are you again?
I'm 6'4",
So Jake's already at a disadvantage, so he already knows.
I mean, it's uncomfortable anyway. So if I would do it myself, I'll let it slide. Although I prefer not to do it, but I have no problem if people do it.
Yeah. So this is my take. Anytime I ever feel like reclining, I kind of look back and see what the person's doing. First off, if you're gonna recline your chair, make sure the person isn't unaware that you're going to do it. Don't just suddenly go back as they're going down to pick up something going down to reach something from their bag, or they have a tray with some drinks on it. Be a little courteous. Do it nice and easily. Do it nice and slowly. But that wasn't the issue here. I think, look, plane rides are uncomfortable. You're not going to get comfortable unless you're in first class. Not everyone can afford first class. So what's the next best thing? Best thing is you can recline your seat. It's an option. If that button is at my seat, I have every right to do it. And you telling me I don't have the right is a load of bull. Austin, I will give you the final word on this.
It's a bad idea. I'm a peasant. I don't really fly that often, so.
You flew most recently.
Except,
yes.
I am. Jake, have you flown recently?
No, not really.
Okay.
You came back.
So
was probably.
I have been on an airplane.
I will be flying a lot this year, though. So.
Yeah. So I don't even know if the plane. I flew Air Canada when I flew, and shout out to them for having the shittiest legroom of any airplane I've ever been on. Please do not
complain when Delta is still a thing.
Well, we don't really have to deal with Delta in Canada.
Yeah, you're lucky. So that's why I said don't complain.
For reference, I'm 6'3", so same little issue as Jake. Legroom's not exactly the easiest thing, especially on those planes when they're trying to sardine pack as many people and as much money into their bank account as possible. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what I'd do in that situation because I don't think I've ever been in it, but probably just send a passive-aggressive tweet like most people do.
Yeah, complain in silence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the funniest thing about that video to me is that guy didn't realize that the person was filming him, that like clearly wasn't behind anything.
Yeah, I wonder how that person feels now that they're like they're part of a viral video on the internet and didn't even realize it. Like, yeah, I mean, like you don't have to like it, but unfortunately, it's an option, and until that option gets taken away, now look, people are like, oh, but the person was in the very back, so they couldn't recline either.
That's on you, by the way. If you can't recline, that's on you. You booked your seats. I've done that before. Gotten like $40 flights to Florida. You know what you're doing.
Yes. Like, if you expect to pay, and I had another funny. So a coworker of mine, she was saying that when she had to fly from Toronto to Calgary, then Calgary to Yellowknife for Hockey Day in Canada, she was like, somebody was sitting in her window seat, and so she went. There's like, my girlfriend messed up our reservation and didn't book us together, but you can take my seat. And she thought, okay, maybe it's another aisle seat or a window seat. No, it was in the middle in the center.
Oh, that's worse than reclining your seat.
Nope. All right, that's where I'm out. If somebody steals my aisle or window seat and is sitting there, I'm like, get the fuck out. I don't care.
Yeah. So people, proper etiquette on planes: don't punch a person's seat and don't steal a seat.
Don't steal window seats.
How does it relate to the Leafs? It doesn't relate to it at all. It's just,
I don't know. Leafs fly on planes. I guess that works.
Yeah. I mean, they fly in a lot comfier planes than.
Also, if you're in that situation and it's not a crowded plane, you can complain and you will get moved.
Yeah.
I remember when I was flying to Italy with my cousin, we were really annoying this old man, and we got him to move. But I'm pretty sure he got first class seat.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Both of us were laughing. Win-win.
Fair enough.
Go. So with that being said, we will hope that the Leafs can try to get it. With the Leafs not winning and Florida, I think Florida lost their game too. The Leafs
The
lost.
Islanders lost too.
So the Leafs did miss out on a big chance. This weekend's gonna be very important. So hopefully they can
have to get minimum 3 points.
Yeah, on this
weekend. It should be 4 against Ottawa and Buffalo, but minimum 3 points.
Yeah. With that being said, we will check back with you guys later. Hopefully you liked the show. If you didn't, apologize. We're trying it out for the first time. That's all I got to say. But thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you next time on the Plan the Parade podcast.